So this evening's premise, quite simply, is that bold, system-changing, transformative political demands are not a liability for the left. They are the path to power.
When you can actually vote for the things you really believe in, then that really changes everything, right? And it changes how things feel, who participates. It's really kind of amazing.
People were inspired because the message was bold, not in spite of it, right? And this is exactly the opposite of what the media would have us think.
But this young woman came up to me and she just said, you know, Nav, like, I feel so energized after door knocking. I feel valued. Like, I feel good and energized, and I got something to do after this, and I feel valued.
So a little less than a year ago, about 20 of us decided to found what we ambitiously defined as a movement, and we called it the Courage Coalition of the Independent Left. I get asked a lot, what is courage? And the short answer is that courage is a bridge, it's a conduit, it's a space that operates between movement and electoral politics.
There is a huge housing crisis, and we were being bold and committing to and costing how we would build more homes for people. We talked about a national education service. We were going to abolish tuition fees. The main thing for us in the campaign was the Labour Party manifesto. It was probably the best manifesto that we've ever produced in my lifetime, I would have to say, because it really was a manifesto that gave people hope. And it was titled, For the Many, Not the Few.
I know a lot of people, when they think of the Bernie campaign, they think of all the cool tech platforms we used and how social media played a role, and we can talk about that, right? We're happy to tell you about all that stuff. But none of those digital tools can help your campaign if you don't have a big goal and a growing force of fired up volunteers willing to fight for you, and they want to fight for all the issues, and they want to fight together because they're fighting for themselves and we're fighting for each other.
Quite simply, we think that it is long past time for political proposals that actually match the scale of the crises we face. And we have seen in these other countries that politicians who have the courage to leap to vastly more ambitious demands have ignited a wave of political excitement on the left that has not been seen in a generation or more. We need a massive transformation in our energy system. We have to change wholesale how we get around, how we grow and distribute our food, how we provide truly universal public services. That includes free education for all, cradle to grave.
So for us at the Leap, there was a really intense response when we came out. The backlash was pretty much immediate, a freak out even. The backlash wasn't fun, but it helped us to reach out to a whole lot of millions of people who had never heard about a justice-based transition.
Well, yeah, we've had a horrible time with the media, but Momentum's membership massively shot up as a result. And because people could actually see that this is the establishment in all of its different forms who are trying to lock out ordinary, decent people from participating in the political process. And actually, I think that there's a lot of patronising that goes on towards the public.
And what this meant in order to make this happen was that we had to trust volunteers, right? Which is a scary thing to do if you work in politics. We had to trust volunteers, and we had to give them meaningful roles in our plan to win. Not just something to keep them busy, not just hold a sign at the side of the road, meaningful roles in our plan to win. And this was crucial to putting us within reach of an improbable victory.
So I'd say the biggest thing that we use is ask people to do many things and teach people to do many things and make sure that you're supporting as many volunteers as possible. It's not just one skill, not be just a door knocker, not just be a phone banker, but you want to do 5 things and you want to do them lots and all the time and as many activities as possible so people can all participate.
What's really important and what every party should be doing and what every group, whether it's, Courage or Leap, is to make sure what you're doing is open and inclusive and accessible. Because if you're going to have like a campaign HQ that anybody in a wheelchair can't get through the door, then what's the point? You've already stopped those people. I'm a disabled woman with a visual impairment, so I understand that we have to ensure that campaigning has to be inclusive for everybody, and I strive to do that.
And so I just wanted to ask you one more question about canvassing specifically, because the sort of conventional wisdom is that the role of canvassing really is to identify the support and pull it on election day. Is that how you did it?
No. No, that's not how we did it. Look, gathering data is important, and I'm never going to say it's not important. It is, but believe me, that is not the primary function of what we're trying to do. It is about going out there and talking to people. So we encouraged all our activists and volunteers to have those one-on-one conversations with people and going back repeatedly and having those conversations.
It's not about knocking on doors and hitting those numbers. It's about going out and having conversations with people and finding out what's going on with people and listening to them. Is that we find out that actually there is a growing distrust in institutions for very good reasons, which is why the kinds of mass participation campaigns that worked in the UK, that are starting to work in the United States, are so important, because we cannot count on our institutions to save us.
We don't change the world by talking to people who think like us. We change the world by talking to people who don't. So you have to talk to many and many of those people.
We don't know what's going to happen next, but the establishment also doesn't know what's going to happen next, right? But we do know that the conventional wisdom has generally been wrong in this moment, and that anything is possible. Really great things are possible if we get involved, but also really terrible things are possible, I tell you. From the United States, if you run on the status quo, right, and you expect to leave the elite in charge of what should be the left party.
I was selected in Battersea, probably because Battersea was pretty much seen as an unwinnable seat. So there's me, I'm this bright, bubbly black woman going into this predominantly white leadership. The party didn't give us any resource, so we didn't have lots of money to run a really strong campaign. But most important, most fundamental to ensuring we could win in Battersea was the people. Our manifesto inspired hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of young people to come out and knock doors. And some of the stories that we would hear on the doorstep was just, it was amazing. You have to stand up. You have to have the courage to leap. Because if you don't, who's going to do it for you? The biggest thing you can do today is make that decision to say, yes, I am going to get active. But don't let anything or anyone stop you from wanting to go out and make a difference.
Marsha Dakota.
All right, and who's ready to elect an organizer? Somebody who's one of us, who's ready to put them in office. All right, look at all the people who are ready to do this thing.
So who here is willing to be a phone bank hero for the movement and stand up and say, okay, what the hell, I'll do it. Right. Stand up, stand up. All right. We need everybody to come and sign up.
Sign up for these people today. Sign up to phone bank.